This is HuffPost Live, and I'm Ricky Camilleri. And if you're like me and scared of seeming like a conspiracy theorist, then UFO stories probably slip under your radar, because the government wants it that way. But luckily for us, HuffPost has its own, very own UFO aficionado, and he's joining us now to discuss the biggest extraterrestrial stories of the year. Ladies and gentlemen, a king amongst men, Lee Spiegel.
I'm a UFO aficionado now, huh?
You're an aficionado, and because of that, you are a king amongst men.
Wow. What would that make you if I'm a king?
I'm just I'm a lowly prince. I'm a prince amongst men. Let's get started.
Okay.
In April of this year, UFO researchers finally got their chance to testify before Congress. Well, kind of. A citizen hearing of disclosure was held, and over the course of 30 hours, 40 international researchers testified before former members of Congress. Lee, what was this hearing all about? What happened here?
It was 6 former members of Congress who came together, and they were actually well paid for their services to come together to sit there at the National Press Club in Washington to hear testimony from people from all around the world. And these are just not UFO eyewitnesses or people who claim they've been abducted. These are serious folks from other countries and actual national agencies that study UFOs, pilots.
So then why
researchers.
only former members of Congress?
Well, because it's not quite the time, apparently, for current members of Congress to say, yeah, let's talk about UFOs.
Do you see a conspiracy?
No.
I just want to get a conspiracy going. Come on.
No, not on this particular subject. Maybe on a couple of others. But these people all came together for 5 days, and we here at HuffPost, we were the only persons who actually did. I did a live blog every day for the whole 5 days, covering it, watching it, blogging about it, so people could know what was going on and to give them all updates.
Was it riveting?
Sometimes.
I was going to say.
Yeah, not all the time.
Right.
So there was some testimony there that I was like falling asleep at my desk.
Like most congressional hearings. There's some that's great and some that's...
Well, and it had nothing to do with the members of Congress, because they were good. They were obviously very interested in the subject. But a lot of the people that came there were just not interesting to listen to, and helped drag it on a little too long, I thought.
Well, one individual in particular made headlines during the disclosure hearing. Headlines in terms of the UFO sightings blogosphere. 83-year-old retired Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Richard French was allegedly in charge to protect Blue Book in the 1950s and tasked with the job to shoot down false reports of UFOs. He revealed that he once witnessed a UFO himself, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. He claims that when he was one of the investigators of Blue Book, which was the Air Force's official 20-year investigation of UFOs, he was supposed to debunk UFOs, and he was sent to Newfoundland by his superiors, where about 100 people were standing outside on a dock overlooking the ocean, and they were all watching something that he could see through the clear water. He claims were 2 circular craft, about 18 inches in diameter, just below the surface of the water, and he could see through the water, he says, 2 3-foot-tall alien beings running around the craft underwater, looking like they were repairing one of the ships for some reason, and he watched it. They had to use the local police to keep people away. Don't anybody dive off and start swimming toward it. And as he watched it, he said one of the ships very slowly came out of the water, flew away, made a circle, and then came back, went back under the water. More repairs were done, and then both ships came out and then sped away.
That's an outrageous sighting. That's a very detailed, very specific kind of sighting. I find that when it comes to UFO stories, and I feel like I'm like the rest of the country in this way, or the rest of the world, that when something is as detailed as that, there's so much happening, you tend to believe it even less than someone's like, I saw a thing in the sky, I thought it was a UFO. This is insane. What do you think? Well, how legitimate could this theory be? This sighting?
Ricky, I don't know. This is the second year in a row that Lieutenant Colonel French has made our top list, because last year he revealed to HuffPost exclusively that there wasn't just one UFO crash at Roswell in 1947. There were 2. And in fact, we shot them down. Wow. This is the same guy telling that story last year. So we can't prove it. We can't disprove it. It's his word against whoever's word, but he was in the military.
Well, it's certainly a landmark moment for 2013 UFO Believers was the premiere of Sirius, a documentary about the mummified remains of what looks like a 6-inch space alien. What did this documentary reveal specifically about this space alien?
Well, actually, it didn't reveal a whole lot. That was part of the controversy. The documentary wasn't just about the little 6-inch guy who has been nicknamed Atta because he was found 10 years ago in Chile's Atacama Desert. But a lot of people said that maybe he was from outer space, he, she, whatever, because of the oversized cranium, and the controversy continued about, well, was he human? Was it from somewhere else? Doctors in other countries looked at it first and tried to analyze it. They came up with the idea that it was probably an unborn fetus.
Wow.
But it found its way to America to the hands of a stem cell biologist, Gary Nolan, who looked at it very carefully, looked at the DNA, and he said it probably is human. It's more human than anything else, but he thought that whatever this thing was, it actually lived to 6 to 8 years old. Well, if that's true, then that throws out the unborn fetus possibility.
Yeah.
So he's saying, we don't know, we have to do more DNA analysis that could take a long time, and it's still up for grabs.
So the stem cell researcher, he's saying it's most likely some kind of human that suffered deformities of some sort.
Yeah, and they can't really determine until they know for sure, but it was probably, in terms of readership, like the biggest UFO-related, alien-related story that we had.
Wow. Well, next up, the FBI created quite a stir among UFO enthusiasts earlier this year when they announced that the most popular file in their vault is a memo entitled UFOs or No. First off, what is this vault?
The vault is a special electronic reading room that the FBI created and made available to the public in 2011. So anybody could go there and look through all kinds of documents that had been previously classified. They could just look through to their heart's content. Now, they never said, and I say they, the FBI, they never said that this particular document was first released in 2011, and that's where a lot of media outlets got it wrong. People were claiming that the document first was released then, but we know for sure that it came out in 1977 by the FBI, and it's been kind of moving around ever since then. And it's a document that talks about, from 1950, about how there are reports, unsubstantiated reports, of UFOs that had been recovered in New Mexico that had, each UFO, each ship had 2 3-foot-tall alien beings, et cetera, et cetera. And all of a sudden, because the FBI didn't follow up on it because there just wasn't enough proof or evidence about it, the story just kind of kept floating around and around and around. But other media outlets were saying that according to the Vault's UFO document, they are definitely acknowledging that the Roswell UFO crash actually happened. Well, the Roswell UFO crash, whatever that was 1947. This document is about something that happened in 1950. So there's a lot of discrepancy there that people just didn't get right. But as far as the FBI was concerned, no, we're not saying anything about Roswell. We're not saying that this was a true story. And we've never tried to hide anything from anybody.
Now, Lee, it's the end of the year. You're writing your top 10 UFO stories. And I'm curious. We've never asked you this before because we want you to remain an objective reporter, but you are our most knowledgeable source when it comes to UFOs, and I'd imagine it's because you love learning about UFOs and studying UFOs. Where do you stand on all of the information that comes out about UFOs? Is there any actual proof that a UFO has been seen?
Oh, yes. There's a lot of evidence that I believe, and not just me, but serious researchers, scientists, military, political people I've interviewed over the years who say that, yes, there is something going on. We are being visited by some kind of intelligence, but people have to start learning to ask the right questions.
What's the right question?
What is this intelligence manifesting? What are the symptoms or the designation of a UFO report that makes most people think that they're from other planets, but other people are starting to think now, like physicists, that they may not be coming from other planets. The whole idea of, well, they can't get here from there because it's too far away. Well, you don't have to gas up your engine and try and take a 100-year journey somewhere if you already know how to slip into another reality and get here hopscotching through wormholes or something.
Lee, mind blown. You just blew my mind. Hopscotching through wormholes. I think you heard it here first, right, Lee?
Well,
no, maybe not. Can we just say people heard it here
first?
Yeah, you heard it. Lee, thank you so much, of course, for counting these stories down.
Thank you, Ricky.